With the NBA draft unfortunately being postponed due to the current pandemic in the world, this have given GMs and fans the chance to get the opportunity to scout players and see who they think will and who should go number one in the NBA draft. I think this is one of the harder NBA drafts to scout because, we didn't get the opportunity to see these kids in a big stage during March Madness because of the season unfortunately being cut short. I think this is one of the harder, more mysterious NBA drafts to really predict who we think is going higher in the draft. Everyone's just assuming that the Golden State Warriors will get a top draft pick in this year's NBA draft, and I am one of those people that predicts that as well. And we don't know what Golden State will do with that draft pick. With Golden State having an injury-riddled season, this upcoming year is going to be a promising one for the Golden State fans. It's looking like they're going to have the number one pick in the draft this season. With that being said, I have the Golden State Warriors selecting center James Wiseman out of Memphis. Wiseman has all the physical tools that you want out of a 5 in modern day NBA. He's a 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan, an exceptional athlete that can get up and down the floor and finish above the rim. He has all the tools to be a rim protector that can guard in ball screens and switch on the perimeter if needed. He's not Dirk Nowitzki, but he's not Clint Capella either. He's shown some flashes of being capable on the perimeter. The red flags with Wiseman are twofold. For starters, his competitiveness has been questioned throughout his career. He hasn't always controlled games the way someone his size should be able to. He isn't as tough or as physical as some would like, and he seems to have a habit of trying to prove that he can play away from the basket instead of overempowering anyone that gets in between him and the rim. None of these concerns were helped by his decision to quit on his Memphis team in December. My gut feeling on Wiseman is that if he decides he wants to be, let's say, the next Miles Turner, he could end up one of the 8 to 10 best centers in the NBA. If he decides that he wants to be the next Giannis, I don't think it'll go as well. With the number 2 pick in the NBA draft, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers selecting yet another guard. I have them taking Anthony Edwards out of Georgia. Edwards is the best scorer in this 2020 NBA draft. At 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan and explosive athleticism, he's proven himself to be a dangerous 3-level bucket getter that can get hot and do things like score 33 points in a half. Ask Michigan State. He's also has the physical profile of a guard that can defend 2 or 3 different positions in the NBA. It's all there, but Edwards is still learning how to play and how to be consistent. Far too often he settled for deep, contested threes. They looked great when he hit a couple in a row, but he shot 29% from 3 as a freshman. That speaks for itself. Although part of that inefficiency absolutely stems from the load he was asked to carry. Edwards was not getting too many easy looks created for him. There are also too many stretches where he looks disengaged in the game, whether it's due to his lack of focus on the defensive end or because of his passive offensive game. He's developed a reputation dating all the way back to his high school days for being a guy that starts slow and puts up huge second half numbers in a losing effort. With this next pick, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking Obi Toppin. Toppin is one of 3 guys in this 2020 NBA draft that I believe can make a significant impact in the NBA as a rookie. And given that the top of this class draft is made up of players that are going to be drafted on their potential without having the upside of being a franchise-changing talent, I think there is a value in drafting a guy with a rock-solid floor. The reason that Toppin floor is so high is because of how well he fits as a role player at the next level. Anthony Grant's offense at Dayton was as close to a modern day NBA scheme as you're going to find in college basketball. And the reason he's able to play that way has everything to do with Toppin's skill set. At 6'9", he's an explosive leaper that is versatile offensively. He can hit a 3, he can score off the bounce, he has a pretty good feel for the game. He's a capable and willing passer. He also has the size and physical tools where it is conceivable that he can play the 4 or the 5 in small ball lineups. Although he'll need some development here. He has high hips and a slender waist, which casts some doubt on how well he'll be able to put on weight and how well he can sit in a stance and guard on the perimeter. And while there is some value in being able and capable of guarding 4s or 5s, there are some valid questions about whether or not he'll be an above average guarding either. With this pick here, I was pretty torn between two teams. I felt like the Atlanta Hawks have a really good shot at getting this third pick here, and they already have a young duo in Trae Young, and they have a guy in John Collins. And with the fourth pick, I have the Atlanta Hawks selecting Isaac Okoro from Auburn. Okoro is another guy in this draft that I think has a chance to be a really good starter on an NBA team for the next 12 years. I'm not sure there's anything more valuable in the modern NBA than a wing that is a multi-positional defender, that can guard in space, and that is capable of creating against a closeout or in isolation. But I am sure that there is no one in this NBA draft that better fits that roles than Okoro. I don't think it's crazy to say that Okoro was the best perimeter defender in college basketball this past season. He can guard up, he can guard down, he can move his feet, he's already built like a pro. He's shown the ability to block shots as a help side defender. It's what he hangs his hat on. But he's also proven to be particularly great off the ball, off the dribble, where he's a nightmare to stop once he gets a step. He can finish above the rim, but perhaps his most underrated skill is his ability to read defenses and pass the ball. He definitely is a capable and willing playmaker. The one question mark is his shooting, but Isaac was a hard worker in college, and I think he'll put in the hours that he needs in order to make himself a threat from 3. This pick right here might be surprising to some, but I have LaMelo Ball falling a little bit, which is kind of surprising because I actually think he's the best player in the draft, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he goes 1 to the Warriors, but I have Detroit taking him at number 5. I know what you're thinking. Like, when you think of LaMelo Ball, I mean, the reaction you're going to get is you're thinking back to the little 5'11" kid with braces and a blonde mohawk, launching shots from half court and cherry picking against overmatched competition to try and get 100 points in a game. You're going to immediately think of all those things you hated about LeVar Ball, and I get it. But Melo grew up. He's not just a baby brother anymore. He's now a 6'7" lead guard that has all the tools that would lead you to believe that he can be a star at the next level. He's a terrific passer that can make every read you want a point guard to make out of ball screens with either hand. And he has the size to see over those defenders. His feel for the game and basketball IQ are elite. He's been an inconsistent and inefficient shooter throughout his career, but he's always been a good free throw shooter, and while he certainly needs to tweak his mechanics, some of those low percentages can be explained away by the degree of difficulty of the shots he is taking. Which leads me to what may be the most important point here. Not only is Melo one of the youngest players in this draft, he is also a late bloomer. He's still growing into his frame, and while I doubt he's ever going to be on par with someone like Russell Westbrook, he's definitely going to get stronger and more athletic as he matures physically and gets into the NBA strength training program. When that happens, it should help his explosiveness and ability to handle physicality. There are more risks here, but I don't think it's crazy to say he has the highest ceiling of anyone in this draft class. The bigger issue is off the court stuff. He has a reputation, fairly or unfairly, of being a lazy defender. Teams picking at the top of the draft will have to do their due diligence. He may have a high ceiling, but there's also some bust potential at play. If it all plays out, he could end up being the second coming of Luka Doncic. And with the 6th pick in the NBA draft, I have the New York Knicks selecting guard Killian Hayes. Hayes is a flat-out terrific passer out of ball screens, and the coaches at ULM this past season knew as much. To put this into perspective, Hayes played 33 games for ULM this past season, and according to Synergy's video logs, ending a possession by using a ball screen 428 times. That's an average of 13 ball screens per game. He played 25 minutes per game. Do the math. And Hayes played out of a ball screen once every 2 minutes for the course of an entire season, and that only counts the possessions where those actions resulted in a shot or a turnover. That's absolutely insane. And given the direction the NBA is heading, the success that Hayes had in that kind of action is notable. As I mentioned, he is a terrific passer that makes all of the reads when he is going to his dominant left hand. He can get to the rim, his floater is solid, and he has the size, 6'5", to be able to see over the defense. Where he struggles a bit is when he is forced to his right. He also was an inconsistent three-point shooter, hitting just 29% while attempting more than 3 threes per game. The stroke doesn't look bad, and he has terrific feet and handles, creating all kinds of space for himself to get his step-back jumpers off. The key is his jumper. If that comes around, if he develops into a guy that can play on or off the ball, he'll be a great pickup at number 6, but I'm going to just say that's a really big if. At number 7, I have the Chicago Bulls taking Deni Avdija. The intrigue with Avdija is the shooting and playmaking that he provides as a 6'9" forward. At the levels of the international basketball, he played as something of a point forward, and while he's someone that profiles more of a complementary player than a full Luka Doncic, his ability to pass and operate in pick and rolls at his size is going to make him a useful player down the road. The key for Avdija long term is twofold. What does he turn into defensively? And how well can he shoot the ball? He's never consistently shot it at a high percentage from beyond the arc. And that's concerning given the fact that he has consistently been a sub 70% free throw shooter throughout his time in the youth ranks. But passing translates, size translates, and shooting can be taught. If he continues to develop defensively, he's got a chance to be a good starter in the league for a long time. Think Luka Doncic-esque. And at number 8, I have the Charlotte Hornets drafting Onyeka Okongwu. For me, the intrigue with Okongwu is pretty simple. He is a 6'9" that is an explosive athlete with an already sturdy frame. He produced at the college level, both as a scorer, a rebounder, and a rim protector, and he has shown some pretty solid post moves for a 19-year-old. He can defend the rim. He's athletic enough that being a switchable 5 seems like his floor. He has a soft touch around the basket, and while he's just shooting 15 for 35 on jumpers this season, he's also shooting 9 for 19 on jumpers inside 17 feet, and shooting his 72% from the free throw line on 143 free throws this season. Worst case scenario in my mind, Okongwu turns into an off-the-bench big that provides energy, rebounding, and defense. If the jumper come along, and especially the passing, woo! He could be much more than that. 100%. Coming in at number 9, I have the Washington Wizards selecting guard Tyrese Haliburton out of Iowa State. Haliburton's numbers jump off the page. At 6'5", he's a lead guard with terrific vision that can throw every pass a point guard is going to be asked to make. He's an excellent three-point shooter that has positional size and has shown himself to be, at the very least, an adequate as an on and off the ball defender. He was the best on the floor for Team USA at the U19 World Championship over the summer. All of that adds up. If there is any concern with Haliburton, it's his physical tools. He's not an athletic athlete, and just at 175 pounds, there are valid concerns about how well he's going to handle the rigors of getting to the rim in the NBA. He also has a slow, funky release on his jumper. Think Shawn Marion. Will he be able to get that shot off at the next level? I'm high on Haliburton because after seeing the way that elite passers like Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, and Trae Young have thrived early in their NBA career, I'm willing to take the risk on a 6'5" point guard that can make those passes in a year where the opportunity of rolling the dice at the top is relatively low. I wouldn't be surprised if Haliburton goes way higher in the draft than just number 8 or number 9. I could definitely see him going at least to Detroit, maybe New York. Once again, it's looking very likely that the Phoenix Suns will be picking in the lottery. Unfortunate, Devin Booker. Last year they picked Cameron Johnson, And, he didn't have a really bad year last year, but I think this year they'll pick a good one. I have them taking Devin Vassell out of Florida State. Vassell was one of the breakout stars of the ACC, leading a good Florida State team in scoring and doubles as their best three-point shooter. He's got the size and the length to be a good defender at the NBA level, and he's proven to be a playmaker on that end of the floor. He averaged 1.4 steals and 1.0 blocks last season. Playing for Leonard Hamilton, you can be sure he got plenty of reps switching defensively and guarding bigger and smaller players. He's not as much of a playmaker on the offensive end, and weighing at 180 pounds, he definitely needs to add some weight to his frame. But he's precisely what you look for as in a 3 and D wing. In a 2020 NBA draft where it's hard to find sure things, Vassell on paper seems to be as close to a known quantity as you're going to get in this range. That being said, you have made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you comment, like, and subscribe, and also follow me on my socials at the bottom. I intend to do more content like this in the future, and I'm going to allow this video to continue to play, showing my predictions from 11 to 15. I will catch you guys in the next video.
Just under 6 minutes gone by. Ellis the drive and kick it. Chua from deep. Splash! Leads the American in rebounds. And first among all freshmen in the country.
15 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists in the exhibition win. Hot start. See, Commodores 5 and 9 had that hot start from 3 with 2 by Brown and 1 by Neesmith. That stops a bit of a drought for Southeast Missouri. Up top.
Trying to use a pick. Gets a little nudge, but gets to the rim and gets the bucket to go. His first 2 points.
He just pounds the ball with that right hand. No, that Notre Dame tries to help out against him, but you just give him that.
Notre Dame is just creeping back into this thing. Anthony now forces a shot, and he gets it to go.
And that's something that North Carolina was concerned about.
Not afraid to attack off the bounce. The Cats. That's Bay. A great balance by Army. Bay. And Robinson, another rebound. How about that? They really worked right at denying that post. Bang. Wow. Late in the shot clock for the first time.
Yeah, they're adjusting well here defensively.
Bay. And exactly.
Candy.